Hey everyone, welcome back to Crypto Cash. Thank you so much for joining me here today. Today we're taking a look at flow. So we're going to get in the flow here and we're going to take a look at the charts. We're going to see what's going on. Have a good time. All right. Now this is for educational purposes only. This is not financial advice. You should always do your own research. But this is, again, your one-stop shop for cryptocurrency analysis. And I have years of trading experience. My goal is to help teach you to trade rather, for a lifetime, right? Not just for one day. But if you want, kind of a leg up or essentially, an opportunity to be able to trade more consistently, I do have a signal group that I send out 3 to 5 signals per week. Reference that in the description below. We currently have a 90% success rate and it's doing very good. We have an open position right now with Ethereum. All right, so without further ado, unless you want to check out my Telegram, link in the description below as well. We got a good group of folks there. You can sponge and learn a lot. Let's just go ahead and get right to the video. Let's check it out. All right, folks, let's go ahead and take a look at flow. And before we do, we look at Bitcoin and Ethereum first, just to get a baseline of the market so you know what's going on and we can make an informed decision, understanding all angles, right? That's the important thing to do. So let's take a look here. First things first, this is TradingView.com desktop application. Best application you could utilize for stock trading charts, or more importantly, crypto trading charts. There's a link in the description below if you'd like to discount on a 1 month essentially, but I can tell you it's well worth it if you're into this type of thing like I am. First of all, we want to look at Bitcoin 4-hour chart. I always like to look at the 4-hour chart because it's the best time frame that other industry leaders are utilizing. So we want to get on board with that, right? They also use the 200 and the 50-day moving averages. So these are simple moving averages. This is the 50, the purple line. Sorry, I said that wrong as well. We're looking at the 50 is actually the orange line there, the one that's responding quicker to the price action. The 200 is the purple line. All right, now the 200 did reject the price action here recently on the 4th of July. It rejected it 5 times. So in 20 hours, it said, nope, you're not coming past here today. Hasn't come up since, right? So it's been on this kind of lower lows, lower highs scenario. Hopefully we can break through the 50, which unfortunately we had a 24-hour rejection period here on the 50-day moving average. So there's a chance it could get rejected and keep coming down, or try again and break right through. It has a tendency of consistently trying to push through the 50, so we'll see. Big picture though, we are looking at 30,000 as a major support, 42,000 as a major resistance, and 36,500 as the most recent resistance that caused a pretty massive rejection here recently. That's kind of where we're at with Bitcoin. Ethereum, I would say similar situation, only not. And what I mean by that is that similar in the sense that it's complete crap, but also not in the sense that we have the moving averages in different places, right? So we got this, golden cross, so to speak, right here. Don't put any weight into that because it doesn't matter. The price should be below the 50-day moving average anyways when that happens. Furthermore, also, that just pretty much works as a secondary resistance, right? So we're under resistance at this point. We have a major support at about 1725 and a major resistance at 2900. That was tested about 10 times. I know that because I counted. I was so happy to see the price up in that range, and we haven't had that in a while now. So I guess we're just gonna stay in the 2000 to 2200 range. That's about where we're at right now. Moving on to flow. So let's take a look at flow here. We'll look at the 1-day chart first, work our way down, because we want to see how it responded to a lot of the price action in the market previously. Okay, so taking a look here, if we look at April 17th was essentially the first major Bitcoin sell-off. We saw a 15% loss across the board on that day. So let's see if we can identify that. Right there. Well, 18th, 17th, it was late in the day on the 17th, depending on where you're at. So the 18th and the 17th kind of same. So yes, it retraced pretty heavy right there. That was what do you know, close to 15% as well. And then of course the price came back up 2 or 3 days after, and it came down again on the 22nd. That was the second major Bitcoin sell-off. And then everything kind of ramped back up. The market did very well on the 25th through May, May 8th. And then, of course, the Elon candle came around that shot the price down here. And then, of course, the 19th, the price came even further down with the China candle. So bottom line is that flow is responding pretty normal to a lot of altcoins out there. There's nothing out of the ordinary here. So that tells me that there's probably some type of fundamental catalyst that's causing the price to come up here, and or the fact that the price has been so low for so long. If we take a look at the RSI under 30 here, it could only come back up, right? You try to hold a flotation device underwater, it's going to surface, all right? Unless you burst the bubble or whatever the case is and let water in, it's not going to stay down, right? Currency does the same thing. You hold it below the 30 on the RSI for too long, it will eventually resurface, and that's what it did. So, if you're going to kind of bank on a good entry point, wait for the RSI to be, hitting 30 and or below, and that's likely a good entry point. Bear in mind, this hit 30 and it kept going down, but that was the first below. Second time, this would have been an awesome entry point. Again, easier said than done, but if you pay attention, RSI under 30 on the 1-day chart is a pretty strong indication of a buy signal. Same thing with this here as well. Look at this. We've got a convergence right here. And coincidentally, the price action has increased ever since then. So we'll just quickly mark that. We had a nice little convergence on the 27th of June. So let's go ahead and take a look at the 4-hour chart next. I like to mark the convergences on the MACD just because then we can look at the 1-hour chart rather, and identify in the Ishimoku cloud if it was a buy signal or sell signal. There's oftentimes a really good correlation between the two. So taking a look here, yeah, a lot of up and down, of course, that makes sense based on the massive retracement that we had there, the increase as well. So obviously, minus the fact that the price did retrace on the 7th, that was actually when Bitcoin sold off again recently with some of the more relevant news regarding China. So it makes sense that happened. It also makes sense the price came above and broke that resistance level because the fact that we are in new uncharted territories, at least, within reason, right? We've been here before, but it was on a state of decline. So if we look back, not much else to really note except for the fact that I forgot to touch on this. On the 1-day chart, we always look at the average true range, right? So oftentimes, when you're looking at an average true range, it's kind of just getting an average of what's going on with the range itself. In other words, where it spends its most time. Now, granted, it spent a lot of time down here, but before all the massive sell-offs, where did it spend its time? It spent its time between $25 and $38, $39. Okay, so with the price being right at about 20 right now, that's still very low, still very affordable because there's at least $5 more it can go before it hits a major resistance level. Okay, so just kind of taking a look at that here. If we kind of just quickly touch 2460 is a close approximate of a major resistance. So, until we hit that point, I don't see any reason why flow would slow down unless Bitcoin retraces significantly in the near future. Okay, so Bitcoin comes down to 30,000, you might want to consider selling your position on flow or trimming at least because it may not come back right away. For right now, it'll probably continue to shoot up to upwards of $25 on this bull run as long as a healthy bull run. And we'll look at the 4-hour chart for that because when you want to identify a healthy bull run, it's one that's kind of consistent. In other words, this massive increase is unhealthy for a bull run because it has to almost always retrace itself. We want to see, an increase, sideways action, increase, sideways action. So we want to have short periods of consolidation. But what's interesting about this, you got this increase here, right? You got an increase here. Price comes down about 50%. Increase here, price comes down about 60%. So if it keeps doing this, it could very well keep up the same pattern until it hits that resistance level. Okay, so again, patterns don't have to repeat themselves, but they commonly do in crypto, right? They don't have to, but it happens, right? So just keep that in mind when you see a history like this. And of course, bear in mind too, it ramped up super hard, super fast in no less than 1 month. Like we saw an increase in 1 month of approximately 200%. Okay, so it's no surprise that we're seeing an increase right now of somewhere in the range of 65% in about a 24-hour period. But when you got that kind of increase in a short amount of time, what goes up must come down, right? So again, it doesn't have to come down, but there's a good chance that we could see it, keep this sharp, jagged continuation until it gets where it needs to go. All right, besides all that speculation, RSI is just over 70, so it doesn't mean you necessarily have to sell your position, but it does imply that you want to pay close attention to see what happens, because if it's repeating the same history, every time it comes up over 70, it comes crashing back down. I mean, it hit almost 90 with the most recent RSI increase. Okay, so just pay close attention. That's all it is. We don't need to worry about, selling your position per se, but that is a good consideration. And if we look at the MACD as well, obviously right here in the middle, we see the increase. Okay, so again, I marked the MACD on the 4-hour chart, and then I marked the MACD on the 1-day chart rather. And what we'll do next, we'll take a look at the 1-hour chart, see if there's any correlation between that and the cloud. Big surprise. All right, so take a look at this here. And this is what I like to always identify, because if you can kind of put the connection between these two, it really helps you understand market movement, especially for swing trading. This is very important. So you see how I marked the the 1-day chart MACD. That was a ways ago. That was back here. But almost the same rule applies. In other words, when the price crosses that MACD line, it's typically crossing over on the 1-hour chart for the Ichimoku cloud, right? So the common rule of thumb here, just so you know, when the price is over the Ichimoku cloud, it's considered a buy signal. When it's below, it's a sell signal. So if we look up here, right back here, price is above the cloud, and not 2 hours later, the MACD converged and shot up even further, right? So if you're going to try to pay attention to something, pay attention to the MACD and how it responds to price action on the 4-hour chart. Concurrently, look at the 1-hour chart and see how the Ichimoku cloud is treating it. And if it price is above, that is like a double confirmation of a buy signal. So this is absolutely a place in which you want to get in. Okay. These are things that I look for in my signal group. Link in the description below if you want to check that out. I do send 3 to 5 signals per week. We're currently at a 90% success rate. But I look for things like this to find my good entry points. I try not to just buy the dip and hope for the best, right? If I'm buying a dip, it's going to be a dip that has a tendency of breaking above the cloud or that convergence on the MACD, right? So last thing we want to look at here is a 15-minute chart. Okay, so we'll turn off our cloud and we'll go ahead and take a look at the EWAP. Man, I keep saying that. It's not, this isn't Star Wars, isn't you know, something else. It's an EMA View App notification, right? It's something that I created, and what it does, it tells me when I have a buy signal and when to get in, essentially according to the 15-minute chart for the confirmation that I look for. So my confirmation is buying, taking entry when the price is above EMA, which is EMA 15, by the way. That's this red line here, working as a bullish indicator, right? Obviously, it's bearish when it's on the bottom side, but when it's above, it's considered bullish. So that's indication number one, because you always want to buy in the current. You don't want to buy against the current. If you're trying swimming upstream, it's not easy. Why not swim downstream and just kind of float and chill and take some profits? That's the concept here, right? So if you buy in when the price is above the EMA, good sign. When you buy in when the price is above VWAP, even better. The reason why is because the volume weighted average price, that's what VWAP stands for. It essentially tells us the price, that the volume expressed as a price over the last 24 hours. And it resets every 24 hours. Keep that in mind because there's a standard deviation that has to recalibrate. So when you see this reset right here, reset right there, that essentially is showing us that this is a new 24-hour period. But in this 24-hour period, the price was above VWAP, so it works as a support level, and is above EMA, working as a continuous, momentous indicator, right? Because as you can see here, when the price tries to come down, bounce off EMA, it gets rejected, breaks below, but still above the VWAP, right? Okay, so those are things you want to pay attention to. So right now, with where it's at currently, it's performing the same function. It's above VWAP. So if you see this little yellow line here, let me go ahead and get closer. This yellow up arrow, that's part of my notification. That notifies me when we have that crossing. In other words, this is a second green candlestick above EMA and VWAP. So my confirmation, just so you know if you're new, is waiting 30 minutes above EMA and VWAP to get full confirmation knowing that we're heading in the right direction. So instead of gambling, you know that the bulls are in control because it's above EMA. You know the bulls are in control because it's above VWAP. You also know the bulls are in control because the last 30 minutes, they closed 2 solid green bars in a 30-minute period. Okay, so it's not like, 5 minutes, the bulls are going on a run, they're going on a tear. No, cryptocurrency doesn't work that way. In order for something to be consistent, it has to happen for a longer period of time. So I know what you're saying yourself. You could have bought the dip back here. Yes, that's true, but it could have retraced and we could have lost profit, right? Why not get in when you know the flow is in the right direction? So get in right here. Hell, get in right here. It doesn't matter. The important thing is you're taking profit from here to here, and you got a 7.5% increase in 45 to 60 minutes. Okay, so those are things I like to look for, and I recommend you do the same. Obviously, everyone has their own tactics. If you're going to take anything from this here today, is to be cautiously optimistic and be careful with your entry points, and just make sure you're going to take entry above EMA and VWAP, if ever. Okay. But furthermore, look at the one-day chart. See what the MACD is telling you. Look at the 4-hour chart and pay attention to the moving averages. Those are all things speaking to us, giving us buy signals and sell signals, understanding where we're at in the market. The market can be complete crap, and you can make plenty of money doing something like this here, because that is essentially what I look for. Again, reference the link below if you're interested in a signal group where I just send 3 to 5 signals per week, notifying you of these entry points with exit strategies and, of course, best practice. So take a look at that in your own time. But I just want to recommend you be cautiously optimistic again and be careful. Don't just jump in and gamble, right? Trading is not gambling. Trading is making informed decisions based on market data. And this is the market data speaking to you, okay? So that's all I have for you today. Another ramble. I apologize. Hope you learned a little something. If you do, like and subscribe. Feel free to bell notifications, all that stuff, because I do send these out daily. I pretty much have daily analysis, and it's my thing. I love it. I enjoy doing it. So thank you for being part of it. Hope you all have a great rest of your day. We'll see you in the next video. Take care.